If you're struggling with blushing and you're tired of hiding and it's taken over your life and you're just so over it, then this video is gonna be for you. Guess what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to get really uncomfortable. But it's okay, because I have been where you are and I have overcome erythrophobia, which is the fear of turning red in front of other people. Yes, it's a real thing. There's all sorts of research on it and you can find a lot about it here on this channel. But if you are ready to move past redness and into living your best life, then you're going to hear what I've got to say. Hey everybody, my name is April. I'm the founder of Blushing Phoenix, and yours truly was suffering from erythrophobia for 6 years until I was able to work through a lot of uncomfortable things, which ultimately led me to a place of self-worth. And here we are now. We rise and thrive. So at Blushing Phoenix, what we do is we help to empower passionate, creative, and ambitious people who are held back by social hindrances, specifically erythrophobia, social anxiety, things of that nature. But if you feel held back by any sort of social hindrance, then this channel will be for you. I want to have a quick story time. I'm gonna work on condensing these videos down a little bit because I'm not sure what you all love. I can see that sometimes you like the 20-minute videos and sometimes you like the shorter ones. So for the sake of today's video, I'm gonna make a little bit shorter video. I want to tell you about a situation that I feel like is a great analogy for people who are overcoming erythrophobia and the fear of blushing. So I have been running since January. My daughter and I, part of our goal for the new year was we were gonna do a 5K. I got back into running right around January, and I have ran 3.1 miles 3 times outside, well, 2 times on a treadmill and 2 times outside. We're going to run our 5K in a couple of weeks, and I thought, my daily run is normally like 1.5 miles to 2 miles. So I thought, well, I should probably run 3.1 miles to shock my body and let my body know, don't freak out in 2 weeks when you do this. So today I ran 3.1 miles. It was really unplanned. I was just going out to do my morning run. And as I was running, I was thinking, oh, let's just go ahead and do 3.1 while we're here and we have a little bit of time. So 1 mile is a little too easy and doesn't feel like it's long enough. When I get to around the 2 mile mark, I feel the distress. I feel the discomfort. But when I get to 2.5 miles, there is pure discomfort, and 2.75, and even at 3 miles because I'm trying to get to 3.1. So because today I went through that process for the first time in a long time, I wanted to jump on camera and talk to you about how this relates to blushing and how being uncomfortable and pushing through discomfort can really set you free and help you accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish, because so much of what you're seeking is on the other side of what's making you really uncomfortable. So that could be, like, let's say that you feel held back in what you're saying, you feel held back in sharing your opinions, you feel held back in speaking your truth and saying what needs to be said, because maybe you're fearing a parent or a sibling or a cousin or a family member or a friend, them getting upset, being offended, and not wanting you anymore because of what you said. So you hold all of that in, and it just creates resentment and discomfort for you, and you start to wilt, you start to get angry. It's all being internalized, and you're making assumptions of what you think they think. Whereas if you were to say what needs to be said, even if it creates some discomfort, you're breaking through this threshold of being free, of letting your voice out, of expressing yourself, which is a beautiful thing, but it can cost you. And because it creates discomfort, I don't think it's so much of what you're actually fearing is going to happen. It's the discomfort that you're going to feel that is making you afraid. So when it comes to running and I get to that 2.5 mile mark, I am running and everything inside of me starts to try to convince me to stop and shut it down. Like, let's just walk at this point. You know what? You did more than 2 miles. 2.5 miles is fine. How about you just stop now? Then I started feeling like I'm really thirsty. It was a little hotter in this part of the day that I was running. I started becoming a little concerned about, am I becoming dehydrated? Did I drink enough water yesterday? Have I had enough water today? I was so hungry all of a sudden. I just started feeling like I have no energy and the sun is beaming on me. And am I in danger? And as I was running, I was thinking, Am I too far away from my car? What if something happens to me? It was just so much fear and so much discomfort that was coming at me. Well, because I have been here many times before and I've ran in a lot of like uncomfortable ways, I know to override that in myself. So I want to talk to you about that today when it comes to blushing, because a big thing that I share here on the channel is that you have to stop hiding. You have to stop running away. You have to show up. And when you do that, everything inside of you is going to try to convince you that you're in danger, you need to get out of there, they're judging you, look at how red you are, and it's going to make you either fight, flight, fawn. Like you're going to have some sort of like nervous system reaction to that. But over time and with practice, you can train your body to continue to show up. So for example, this week I had a meeting with my boss, and you guys have probably heard me talk about him here before. He's incredibly safe, incredibly predictable, consistent, all the things that make a safe human, really great human. And we were having a discussion that may have gotten a little intense, but it's not like it was like he's being mean and I'm being mean. It was just we were having a bit of a disagreement, which is healthy. We do that all the time, especially with him. And so my nervous system knows that I'm safe to have a disagreement with him, but it was also later in the afternoon. It's getting warmer here. And I didn't have the ceiling fan on. You can't see it, but it's on. I didn't have the ceiling fan on, and this part of my home just gets really warm. And I noticed that I was so incredibly flushed. Well, I could see myself on camera because we were on a Zoom call. I could see myself on camera, and it still is something that is uncomfortable for me because I had that for so many years and I was running from it for so many years, but I actually get kind of excited when it shows up because it gives me an opportunity to practice staying present in the moment, and any sort of discomfort, I'm able to offset it by knowing that I can't run away. I'm not going to run away. It's not that I can't. I have every option to run away if I want to, or tell him to hold on or turn my camera off or cover myself up, but I'm not going to do that. So I've trained myself enough times over the past few years of overcoming erythrophobia to keep showing up. So I'll insert a picture here to show you how red I got. And one thing I did do is I got a little like perplexed, like, why am I turning red? I'm not afraid of him. I'm being very vocal. I know it's hot in here, but I still sometimes will go into a place of like, why is that happening? That's very interesting because I got really red. And what I have tied it back to is that I did not sleep well the night before. My kid has not been feeling well. It was like a flip-flop type of night. It was just not a good sleep night. And kind of woke up feeling really hazy and foggy, lots of brain fog going on. So, but I didn't think too much about it. And he never said anything, and I just kept talking. And that is one of the most powerful things you can do, is just keep showing up. If you get deflated as soon as you feel the redness happening, or as soon as somebody says something about the redness, or as soon as you judge yourself because of the redness, you are setting yourself back each time. It's fine to hear the convincing voice of run away, nobody likes it. That's fine. When I was running, it was like, you're gonna get ill, you should stop, is your health okay? Like all this fear and discomfort, and it can feel so convincing. But when you've spent time with yourself, you know when you're okay and you know that you're gonna be fine. Just keep going. In order to get to that next place where we want to be, we have to get uncomfortable. And think about that for anything in your life, whether that's growing in some creative element where you have to learn something new, a job promotion, or applying for a job that maybe is like a little above your skill set, but you're like, I think I could do it. And you get in there and you're like, holy heck, what the heck do I do? ChatGPT this thing. Like there's just, thank God for ChatGPT, but there's just so many more resources available to us now, but you do things afraid all the time. I heard this guy say that when he believes that bravery, so let's say you show up to something and you feel incredibly terrified, but you show up and pretend to be brave, that in and of itself is bravery. Like that is showing up whether you feel like it or not, whether you feel afraid or not, whether you feel like you are the expert at the thing or not. There are so many things within my day that I'm like, I feel like a 12-year-old girl sometimes. Like how do I know that? How can I convey that? How am I able to operate at this level in multiple different businesses? It's because I've been willing to show up uncomfortable many times. And hey, sometimes you're just not uncomfortable. You just feel super confident and you just show up. But then there are those days where you just don't feel as heightened and as secure. And that's okay. That's just part of being a human. That doesn't mean that you lost any traction because you didn't show up in the most like elegant and confident version of yourself. No, you fake that. You show up with that. You get you a journal and you write down all those things that you're feeling that are working against you. And then you write who you are, what you're capable of. You are totally capable. So sometimes it's just changing the story that we're telling ourselves. So even for me, when I was running, if I keep listening to that voice of fear and discomfort, I would have just stopped running. At one point, I even told myself, if you want to stop running, you can. But then I looked at my watch and I was like, I'm at like 2.7 miles. Why would I quit now? I've made it this far. And sometimes you have to look to the next like mile marker or the next like milestone, which is like, for me, I've been like this since I was a kid. If I can just make it to that tree, and then you get to the tree and you're like, I can keep going. If I could just make it to that mailbox down there. And if you get there, then you look at the next little mile marker that looks like kind of far out, but also very realistic. And you keep giving yourself the option that you can quit if you want to. But I'm happy to tell you that I did my 3.1 miles today and I didn't die. And I had a great afternoon after that. Like, I just feel great and uplifted. And there's just something that you reassure within yourself that you are capable. When you show up and you're willing to be uncomfortable, people are uncomfortable all the time. You just don't know it. So it's fine to be uncomfortable. It's just part of being a human. And if you want to be an elevated human, if you want to be a blushing phoenix, you are going to get uncomfortable. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Like 80-something% of you guys are not subscribing. We are rapidly growing and we're on our way to 5,000 subscribers. So whether we hit those subscribers or not, it's not so much the focus on how many people are following along, because I can see through the views that people are constantly on this channel and they are listening to the content here and they are finding out that they're not alone and that there are solutions for people who struggle with erythrophobia. And one of the biggest parts of that is just knowing that you're not alone, which is huge. Also, my new ebook is out. Go check that out. I really spent a lot of time writing this one for you. And what I did was I thought about, in 2011, I overcame debilitating anxiety and panic attacks. And I thought about the principles that I applied to overcome the debilitating panic attacks and general anxiety disorder. And I just started to apply that to erythrophobia, and it worked. So I wrote all about that in my ebook that I would love for you to go check out. You can find that in the description box below with any other resources that might be helpful to you. And until next time, you better rise and thrive, my friend.